commission. And I'd like to, first of all, call everything to order. And what we'd like to do is find out if folks are alone and if they are present.
I'll go ahead and do roll call.
Thank you.
I'm recognizing that we have Commissioner Becker, Commissioner Thielen, Commissioner Hong, Vice Chair Tobias, myself, and Miles in the public hearing room, and recognizing that Chair Hong is excused. Moving to those who are appearing virtually, Keith.
Present and alone.
Nancy.
Present and alone.
Bonita.
Present and alone.
Barbara. I see you're on mute, but I see you verbally saying present and alone. Patrick.
Present and alone.
Jody.
Present and alone.
And we have two members of the public joining us. Would either of you like to introduce yourselves? Again, would any member of the public like to introduce themselves? Okay. Sure.
Even though this is an in-person meeting, please be aware that all meeting participants are being recorded on the digital record of this Zoom meeting, which will be posted on our website, used to create official minutes. Your continued participation and your implied consent to be part of the public record of this event. If you do not wish to be part of the public record, you should exit this meeting now. Okay. I'd like to have the consideration and approval of the minutes for February 19th, 2025. Are there any additions or corrections?
Move approval.
Okay. Is there a second?
I second.
Roll call. Starting with Commissioner Hong.
Aye.
Commissioner Thielen.
Aye.
Commissioner Becker.
Aye.
Chair.
Chair votes aye. Okay, it has been accepted and passed. And then now we will go on to the director's report. Robert, please.
If I can ask Benita to cover the education and training report.
Good morning, commissioners. We're very pleased to announce that DAGs and BNF are now reporting approximately 95%, which brings us to an combined average of about 91% for all agencies. So we really appreciate DAGs and BNF personnel, especially their HR administrative contacts, for their concerted efforts at increasing their training participation levels and working with our office. We will continue to serve as a resource for agencies and their HR contacts and work with them on their training needs. Due to limited resources, we're going to rely on the HR department officers as being primarily responsible for monitoring their agencies, and will serve as a resource and coordinate with them throughout the year. But again, our priority this year is to focus on the curriculum and content and materials. And so we're going to be working on the updates to the programs, probably during the summertime, in preparation also for the new school year. That's the time when a lot of agencies will be jumping on and throughout the remaining of the year. So we were working on that. We'll also be doing hopefully a board and commissions training with the governor's office sometime in the start of the new fiscal year when new board members come online. So we'll be working with the governor's office on that, hopefully this spring through June. In terms of disclosures, lobbying disclosures for the January, February report are due March 31st. So we're seeing an uptick in calls and contacts and inquiries about, their filing needs. So our office is busy working with lobbyists on that. We're also busy in the financial disclosure season. General reminder to anyone that hasn't yet done so, file your disclosures before May. Um, the filing season, normally this time of the year, we send out updates to all the agencies to ask them for their updated list of filers. So that has already been sent out, and we'll be getting, the updated information and updating our system. If there are any
Thank
questions,
you,
thank you.
thank you, Benitez. Are there any questions from the commissioners? And what about the public? Are there any comments? Hearing none,
We can go to the
this
guidance.
Okay, number 2, guidance and assignment statistics for February 2025. What year am I in?
So that is me. Basically, we had 20 new complaints filed, and then we closed 26. So in both January and February, we continue to close more complaints than we get in. Additionally, staff is also working, and we expect to be able to produce something by April, for the April meeting, on enhanced statistical reporting. So that is in the works as well.
Thank you. Any questions by the public or the commission?
Yes, I have a question, actually.
Sure.
Thank you, Chair Tobias. This is Gary Cordery. On behalf of the Aloha Freedom Coalition, we had actually submitted a lawful and fully executed complaint on March 5th regarding the Office of Elections and the way they've been managing the Office of Elections. We've asked the commission to have a look into what exactly and how that criteria for authentic, safe, and accurate elections is being managed, because we've found that many of the commissioners on the Elections Commission are actually not allowing for what is required in the state constitution. By doing that, we've sent an official request to you, to your office on the 13th. That was to the ethics complaint regarding Commissioner McAdams, Kawada, and Osterkamp. We've actually had a response from you on February 27th, basically saying that this is dismissed because it's not an election matter. It's not a substantive election matter. In response to that, we've asked this commission, the Ethics Commission, to actually do a review under Chapter 84-31, where I believe that requires, it's a mandate for the Office of the Elections. I'm sorry, so many elections. The commission, the Ethics Commission, to look into lawfully executed complaints by citizens of the state. The response that you've given basically says that this is not your area of responsibility. But I would assert that without your input and a willingness to look into the Office of Elections and their behavior really leads to a very slippery slope for the future of the state. The Office of Elections and the ethics commissions go hand in hand in ensuring the public's voice is heard. Individual citizens cast their vote hoping for an honest, transparent electoral process so that their vote is actually counted. What we found within the Office of Elections is that most of the responsibilities of the Office of Elections are being ignored, breaking state law. And I really believe that it has come to this place where the Ethics Commission must actually engage with the Office of the Elections Commission and provide oversight. Without your oversight, the state mandated responsibility of the Ethics Commission to thoughtfully provide an inquiry with a written response to the people of Hawaii is a disservice to the people, and ultimately doesn't provide transparency, doesn't provide accountability. And so it raises in my own mind just what exactly is the criteria for the Ethics Commission when a citizen, and I'm representing essentially 20,000 citizens of the state, asking this commission to thoughtfully and thoroughly look into our complaint of February 13th to the Office of Elections and provide a formal and written statement. It may not be in the typical purview of this commission to look into the behavior of individual commissioners at the Office of Elections, but what other recourse does the people of this state have? Essentially, the Office of Elections, its chair, Chair Curtis, is basically saying, we're not interested in following the law. In our complaint to the Office of Elections, we've made it very clear, stating the particular laws that were broken and providing evidence that the state constitution is not being followed. I'm not sure where we go as citizens of the state if we cannot come to the Ethics Commission to exercise their mandated responsibility, Chapter 84, without regard to their appetite. I'm going to use that without regard to their appetite to look into another state agency. So my request is, at this point, my thoughtful and honest request is for this Ethics Commission to go back and look into the 4 documents that I have sent you, notarized documents, official, lawfully executed requests about complaints with the Office of Elections, and specifically look into the state mandated Office of Elections requirements by its commissioners. And my request is that you would, in addition to that you would provide a written formal response, a public response for the people of the state to understand that the Office of Ethics is in fact working on behalf of the people. I yield. And I'm open to any questions that you may have.
Thank you.
Chair, I just might note on a legal basis, investigations that are complaints that are filed with the Ethics Commission.
Could you speak up, please, Robert?
Sure. So to be clear, complaints filed with the Ethics Commission are confidential by law. So we are not allowed to discuss a complaint filed with us or an investigation. However, what I would recommend is that we ask that this be filed as a charge before us. We can give the information publicly. And once it's filed as a charge, we can then also respond to it in a public fashion as well. And that will allow, potentially the request, which is a public response, a written public response to occur. And that can sort of articulate sort of what the position is. And that would be the recommendation for both Mr. Corduroy and for the commission to sort of take a next step here. So Mr. Corduroy, I can respond back to you and give you the information on how to file a charge. That's essentially a process by where you would be prosecuting the complaint. And I would give the opportunity for the commission to then also respond back in writing why it would proceed forward or not proceed forward. And then that would give you, some avenue to, I guess, get a written statement. Most complaints which are handled by staff are, as I indicated, by statute confidential. So it's really not something we can discuss here.
Robert, I appreciate your response. So a couple of questions regarding your response. One, what is the timeline? If I take so it's a lot of effort to do what you're requesting, but I'm up for it. I think integrity in elections in Hawaii is so critical that the citizens, and myself in particular, must pursue every avenue possible to ensure that the state law is being followed. So my question is, upon review, I'm just going to be hypothetical because it's verifiable. Upon review by the ethics commissions, if the ethics commissions finds that the elections commissions are not following state mandated elections commissions requirements, will the ethics commission dismiss the inquiry, or will it follow the state mandated requirements by the Office of Elections and provide not just a written testimony like, well, yeah, we see that that's a problem, but what will be the recommendation of the Ethics Commission regarding specific election commission officers violating state law? Is it going to be an authentic review based on state law or convenience? I have no judgment in that, but I've been in this conversation for months and months now, and find many times that my complaints and others' complaints fall on deaf ears simply because it's not convenient. It's not worthy of you use the word prosecution. I would ask, what is your, and I'm not sure, are you an attorney for the state, or are you a appointed commissioner on the Ethics Commission? And when you speak, are you speaking as an attorney for the state? And are the declarations that you're making, this is a recorded call, can we be insured based on this testimony that you will do as stated, and by when? And I know these are kind of difficult questions, and I mean no disrespect. I have a great deal of honor for those who serve the state. My guess is that you're likely not paid at all. You're serving as a concerned citizen. And so I offer it in that context, not as an argumentative. We just need the law of this state followed by every agency, which includes the Elections Commission and actually the Ethics Commission. So I present that question to you. What are your thoughts?
Chair, do you want me to respond?
Yes, please.
Okay. So answering several of your questions, I am the general counsel and executive director for the Ethics Commission. So I am an attorney. I'm also a staff member. I respond directly to the Ethics Commission. We do not represent any other agency. The fundamental question, I think, and again, I am leery of answering about a specific matter or specific complaint. For due process reasons, we want to make sure that if there is a charge filed, for example, we give the opportunity, we serve it upon the other side complained about and give them an opportunity to respond, and then allow them to also have an opportunity to be present. So again, that's part of the reason why our investigations are confidential, but also why we sort of avoid having these kind of conversations and be abstract about a specific factual situation. Being very broad, the Ethics Commission's jurisdiction is over Chapter 84, which is a specific code of ethics. So typical complaints filed might be conflicts of interest, fair treatment, abusing a position, failure to file financial disclosure requirements. So very specific things. The general concern about an agency not performing its task under the Constitution or statute typically is a purview of the courts. It is not something we have the authority to mandate or legislate. So, or even I'd say something like acting incompetently is not something that's necessarily our purview. So, that is just a general statement, and, one for you to weigh in deciding how to proceed forward.
Robert, thank you for that. And may I have a follow-up question?
That's up to the chair.
Go ahead, just a straightforward question.
Okay, thank you, Chair Tobias. When you say it is not in your jurisdiction, when it's regarding violating state law with regard to procedure, whose jurisdiction is it? We are talking about ethics. We're not talking about defining law. I am asking specifically, if you find a commissioner on the Elections Commission not adhering to clearly defined state law, is it not the Ethics Commission to inquire and ask them why they're not doing that? That's my question.
Mr. Corduroy, I really don't think that we have the ability to, as Robert has said, oversee or look at what another commission is actually doing unless they violate some of the things that he has alluded to, like with the, well, mostly 84. You know, we're looking at that, not necessarily if someone is not performing their job. You know, and as
Yeah.
Robert said, we will go ahead and do a statement that says what we've accomplished, what we've been doing, and what we looked at, but it will not necessarily be something that's against another commission's leader.
Chair Tobias, thank you for that. And I'm actually not asking for a judgment in terms of their performance. I'm asking for the Ethics Commission to consider whether or not the Elections Commission is in fact following what is required by law. And if not, why not? It's not an actual, are they doing a good job? Like, oh, well, they could have done a better job. They could have done more homework. I'm asking a very narrow question regarding performance, because their performance does have statewide consequences. And it is very important. Their role, as well as yours, is in fact the vehicle for public participation, ensuring that the laws of this state are followed with regard, in this case, and in other commissions, other cases, but in this case, the Office of Elections and its responsibilities to maintain protocols that are state mandated. And so it's not a question of, are they doing a good job? It's a black and white question found, and you can find it in section 84.13, 84.1. These are not arbitrary or hypothetical. These are very distinct and specific questions. And I'll close with this. When you find a commissioner on the Elections Commission who is unwilling to actually look into the adherence, they're actually unwilling to look into whether we're adhering to state law. That to me falls in.
I do think that Robert has answered your question.
Okay, fair
and
enough.
the statement will be coming forward.
Okay, I'm very grateful for this time, this conversation. I appreciate each. I don't know personally any of you. I want to tell you that I'm a citizen just like you. I have keiki, grandkids, and love this state, love what we're trying to accomplish here. And I'm imploring this commission to exercise its, and I'm going to just be clear, it's mandated responsibility to do these things, even if it's not in, quote, my most desired purview. So I offer that and I submit that to you. And Robert, I'll look forward to your leadership in providing the opportunity for us to provide a more specific complaint. And we'll see if we can get some response from both you and the Office of Elections. So thank you. I appreciate it greatly. Mahalo.
Thank you, Mr. Corduroy. Any other comments or questions from anyone else? Okay, are we on miscellaneous?
We are, but I have no updates for that, so we can.
Okay.
move along.
Discussion of media reports concerning ethics. I think this is a placeholder from last meeting.
This is a standing item, Chair, for the commission to have the opportunity to discuss any media reports in the last month concerning ethics, the Ethics Commission. This is a brief note looking at what I have tracked as being filed since the last meeting. Include yesterday's report about certain clean government bills in the Star Advertiser. We have an article on 3-12 about the Water Commission appointee withdrawing and some reference about ethics complaints filed. That's a Hawaiʻi News Now story. We have a Civil Beat story on March 9th about Ethics Commission upcoming vacancy. We have a March 2nd article about the Election Commission and a brief mention of the Ethics Commission and sort of the difference in how the two commissions are run. And then finally, in February 23rd, we have a Civil Beat story about some of the good government bills.
Hey, thank you. The next item is item 4, and it's the proposed Ethics Commission logo update and brand guidelines.
Thank you, Chair. As I've mentioned a few months ago, we are looking at trying to revamp some of our outreach. And so part of that was just doing an update of sort of the use of the logo, incorporating Hawaiian adoption or a Hawaiian version of our name. And sort of trying to come up with consistent icons and fonts that we would use on a going forward basis. So I'm sharing with you sort of the current draft that we have, which is attachment number 1. I'm happy to discuss anything in particular if you'd like to talk about it further. But hopefully this is something that you'll start seeing being slowly rolled out on our website, our stationery, etc. I do also want to note that we had a volunteer help with the logo. So that was at no cost. And in the development of the guidelines, we were actually able to get them to do relatively inexpensively. That document was produced for $1,000.
Thank you, Robert. Are there any questions from the commission or from the public or anyone? Okay, legislative matters 2025.
Thank you. My intent is not to go over each bill, but more be available if there's any questions about them. I would highlight that our budget has been signed by the governor, so budget is done, which is always reassuring to know that that's finalized. All of our bills are currently still moving and underway. We have a hearing this afternoon. It's on our bill, but on the nepotism bill, expanding the restrictions to the legislature and the judiciary. As Commissioner Thielen can probably note, the legislature is a uncertain process, but still cautiously optimistic that most of our bills will pass.
Okay, another great placeholder. Thank you, Robert. Another great placeholder is the Akana versus the state of Hawaii. Any new news?
No updates.
Okay, thank you. Discussion of case status.
Oh, that's for the judicatory.
Oh, it's in the wrong place.
Oh, sorry. Well, discussion of the economy matter. So again, sorry. Anybody wants to ask about the economy matter?
You have no updates.
No updates.
Yeah,
That's correct.
thank you.
All right, yes, ma'am.
May I ask when it would be appropriate to propose we look into something? Is it now?
No.
Okay. I would like to propose that we put on the agenda the issue that was brought up by the testifier relating to the Office of Elections. And I don't feel thoroughly briefed on that matter and what kind of things we could look at and what things are not part of our purview. If the Office of Elections is not following the law, that doesn't seem to be, that's legally wrong, but it doesn't seem to be an ethical issue. But are there things that within our purview that we should look at in that, with that organization? Speaking back to my time in the legislature, there were times that I had very serious questions about actions or inactions that the elections director took or didn't take. One thing that seemed very strange, and I think even made it into the headlines of the paper, was that ballots in the very definitely pro-lingual area, the ballots didn't arrive, or there weren't enough ballots to go around. And it seemed that that wasn't, this is the windward side, so I speak from a windward resident. That people went to the polls to vote and they weren't able to. So that I don't think anyone ever really looked into that, but my reason for bringing that up, I don't think that organization was squeaky clean back then. Now, I don't know if that's still going on, and I'd like to see if staff could brief us if this needs to be, I don't know if this needs to be an executive session, because certain things would be discussed or disclosed that should be an executive session. But I would feel a lot more comfortable if we all had more information about that. And if that could be for the next meeting. And I don't know where you put that in, Chair, but if we could give an indication to Robert and staff that we would like to have more thorough information to see, lay it out to see where is our role or is there no role? And knowing that in the past things happened that were very questionable.
No, I think it's really appropriate that we ask the question and that we get a brief on what has been in the past and whether or not the law has been broken. The discussion that I just heard was that there's no ethical crossover, if you will. But on this occasion, I think it wouldn't hurt to have a little bit more information. And especially since Robert has to compose a letter to this gentleman, Mr. Corduroy, that, you know, gives the information as to not only jurisdiction, but was an ethical issue violated.
Chair, respectfully, what we proposed is that Mr. Corduroy is given information on how to file a charge. So a charge is a defined legal thing. And then that gives this commission the ability to schedule a public hearing, for example. So we would serve the individuals complained about, they have an opportunity to respond. In the past, if the commission decides that it's got a jurisdictional issue or something, sometimes it won't go to a public hearing, we'll just issue a written decision. And that written decision can be something that can be public. I share all that in that there are due process rights. And so if we start overseeing other commissions, we want to serve them and give them an opportunity. So I would be leery to have a discussion about the Office of Elections and how they're conducting their business without worrying about what's the procedural process we are adjudicating anything about them. And I would really not want to have just a general conversation about their conduct without certainly giving them opportunity to be present and respond. So I would give you two options. One is we pursue the charge option, which would be a way for you to hear from both sides. We serve them, they have an opportunity to respond. We can actually make a decision in an adjudicatory proceeding, whether or not there's an ethics violation or not. In addition, we can also have an agenda item just talking about the duties and responsibilities of the Ethics Commission, what's in our purview and what's not in our purview. We have the Commissioner Manual, which has some coverage of that. We can kind of review some of that. It may be helpful for the public to hear that as well.
I think they're both the topics would be worthwhile presenting.
I'm sorry.
I think they're both suggestions worthwhile presenting.
Okay.
Taking us, and then we can kind of go from there.
Rod, anything?
No, sounds fine.
Okay. All right, so just to be clear that we are presenting both options.
So what we'll do in the Sunshine Agenda, the next meeting, is that we will have discussion of what is within the scope and power of the Ethics Commission. We can circulate the Commissioner Manual, which we approved a couple months ago, and sort of talk about sort of what's in our scope and not. Again, I think I have a good discussion to do periodically, also from the public point of view. In addition, we will follow up with Mr. Corduroy and give him the information on how to file a charge.
And if you could let Mr. Corduroy know that we've taken this additional step, I believe he's left.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions or anything from the commission or from the public? Okay, An adjournment? Oh, my goodness. Okay, I need a motion for adjournment.
So
Second.
Going to vote unless there's any comments. Starting with Commissioner Hall. Aye. Commissioner Thielen.
Aye.
Commissioner Becker.
Aye.
Chair.
Chair votes aye, and we are done with the sunshine meeting. Thank you very much.